All right, folks, what is going on? This is episode 639 of the First and Frame Rate Show. I am Viv Baller. Over here, we talk about Georgia Southern and Atlanta Falcons football. And today, we're going to talk some Atlanta Falcons. We're going to talk about our quarterback, Mr. QB1, Desmond Ridder. And we're going to talk about him by way of Coach Arthur Smith. Coach Arthur Smith is praising, he is loving the progression of Desmond Ridder. And just a few words that Coach Arthur Smith said, and those few words is carrying a lot of weight. And I'm gonna tell you why. I'm giving my thoughts and opinions on it, and I'm also going to discuss why this is important. So let's go ahead and get into it. If this is your first time here, welcome. I can be found on YouTube and Rumble. I'm also on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, and Google Podcasts. I have not said this in a while, but I need to figure out when Stitcher is going away because they're going to be dropping the podcast avenues for Stitcher. I think they're moving to Pandora or something like that. But I will definitely have that up by the next episode, so I'll let you guys know for sure. So yeah. So if you're on Stitcher, jump over to Spotify or Apple or Google. I always try to have the podcast up by 9 p.m. Eastern every day, Monday through Friday. Well, Monday through Friday, basically. So if you're on Apple or Google, Spotify, give me a 5-star rating or the highest rating possible, because I think I do a decent job here. Hopefully you guys think the same. Also on the YouTube and Rumble, hit that like button. And yeah, also, before I go further, I can be found on X at VF Baller, and the website is firstandframerates.com. All right, let's go right into the quote. Shout out to Tori McElhaney, Falcons beat reporter and analyst on AtlantaFalcons.com. Her, Scott Blair, and a couple of other guys, they do a really good job on the website. I gotta give them credit. They make the website very, easy to read with their articles and their commentary and the things that they do over there. Between them and the SI Falcons report, over there on SI.com, you can't get any better than these two. I mean, if you want some decent, down the middle, fair Falcons information that you can read, definitely try those two websites. But we put in the link in the description on this, and this is an entire article. But one thing, like, I like to hang on like the little small things in the article, and basically, this is what it says. It says, Arthur Smith said that he had to go back and watch film from the second day of Falcons joint practice in Miami. But he felt confident in saying that post-practice, he's been really pleased with the way Desmond Ridder has carried himself as the Falcons starting quarterback. Quote, I do think his decision-making has been pretty damn good. His techniques have certainly improved too. Now, those two, unquote. Now, those two quotes right there, well, those two sentences that's in this quote carries a lot of weight. It carries a lot of weight because if anybody in the country, anybody in the world who's watching Desmond Ridder and how he is progressing and what he does on and off the field, mostly on the field, is Coach Arthur Smith. You guys also have to realize people don't, I think a lot of people understand this, but Arthur Smith don't really say this, and then most coaches won't, but a lot is riding on the progression of Desmond Ridder. I felt like this was the guy that they should have got in the first round the year that he was drafted. Do I think he's a first round quarterback? During that time, you had Kenny Pickett, Desmond Ridder, and Malik Willis come out. Any of those three could have been first round quarterbacks and nobody would have said anything. I mean, the quarterback class was not as strong, but that doesn't mean these quarterbacks were bad. The jury is still out on Malik Willis, which I think he's getting buried in the depth chart. But, Kenny Pickett is the starter for the Steelers. And you really can't differentiate from those three, to be honest. So, with that being said, I can't say just because he was picked in the third round, that means the expectations is not as high, because you got to look at that draft. It wasn't like, what quarterback that's out there that's really, really, doing it like that? I mean, maybe Brock Purdy? I think Brock Purdy came out that same year. But, with that being said, that wasn't necessarily, that was a diamond in the rough type of situation. Nobody saw that coming. But nevertheless, I can't remember. I think Brock Purdy came out that year. Was it last year? I can't remember. Nevertheless. But when you look at this situation, Coach Arthur Smith handled this very well, and it looked like the dividends are starting to pay off. You know what I mean? Because they waited until like week 13. They put him out there to play after, Marcus Mariota did what Marcus Mariota does, which I feel like this should have been like 5 or 6 weeks earlier. But Desmond Ridder came in and did pretty decent. He didn't do anything that cost him the job. He didn't do anything to gain the job either. But they held confidence in him. They felt like a lot of things he's done off the field as far as learning the system, learning what they're trying to do was good enough for him to be QB1. And they put Taylor Heineke as a backup, which is a formidable backup, very formidable backup. So that that is a pretty safe spot as a team to have at quarterback. Is not a dire situation. If something was to happen to Desmond Ridder, you got Taylor Heineke right there, and there's already rumblings that a certain quarterback, number two has been keeping in shape. He's been I've heard it on the social medias. He's been keeping himself ready. Don't let Indianapolis fool you. I'll just leave that right there. But yeah, you had these situations where it's going to be Desmond Ridder or it's going to be Taylor Heineke, but I think Desmond Ridder is going to hold court. I'm not nothing against Logan Woodside. I just haven't seen anything from him, so I don't think something very drastic has to happen for him to go in the game. In my opinion, to be quite honest, like I said, number 2, I think they will sign him before they have to go to Logan Woodside. That's just my opinion. I don't see them not going to number 2, Mr. Matt Ryan. If those who don't know, I think they'll probably sign him before they go to Logan Woodside. That's just my personal opinion. But nevertheless, with what's been said by Coach Arthur Smith, it just goes to show you that all the practicing, all the film study, all the learning of the playbook, learning your players, learning your personnel, learning what this offense entails. They basically gave him the reins to be the franchise quarterback, and to be quite honest, it looks like he's responding very well. If you really have to go out and say, hey, Desmond Ridder's a little bit inaccurate on his deep passes, and there's a couple of passes that look a little bit rusty and they're a little bit outside or inside. If you only got a few of those, I think you're doing a pretty good job, because I can probably name tons of quarterbacks that are out here in the NFL right now. Probably at least 15 to 20 quarterbacks who have thrown, inaccurate or errant passes. Probably higher than that. Probably all the quarterbacks who took a snap in training camp so far has probably thrown a few bad passes. So it is not it is not the end of the world per se. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a pretty good, situation, and it's going to be a really interesting time to see what Desmond Ridder does, because I feel like he has the tools to be QB1. Do I think he will be QB1? I'm not sure that will be the case. I mean, I think he'll be QB1 going in, but I'm just talking about QB1 as a franchise quarterback. I mean, I'm not sure if we're looking at the second coming of Jalen Hurts here, because you got to understand, Jalen Hurts was not as polished, and this is, and I think some Eagle fans will, I think they can be honest with, if they want to be honest, they can be honest and say this. Jalen Hurts is not as polished as Desmond Ridder coming out of college. Jalen Hurts had a lot of work to do. What makes Jalen Hurts so special is the fact that he worked on it, and he worked his way to be a Super Bowl quarterback, and that is phenomenal. And it's not a knock on him, but you can't tell me that when this kid was the second round pick, everybody was clamoring over him like they are now. That's a lie. Yeah, and you may have a few and that was in a minority that was doing that, but this was not a concession to have the love for him like they do now. But like I said, that just goes back to the testament of him working hard. Now, let's contrast that to Desmond Ridder. Desmond Ridder is probably like in the same spot that Jalen Hurts was in coming into the league. But I will say this, I do feel that Desmond Ridder was slightly more polished and probably a little bit more NFL ready. And like I said, it's not a knock on Jalen Hurts. It's just that, we knew what Jalen Hurts was coming out of Alabama and coming out of Oklahoma. He was not like this. It was a reach for him to get the second round pick. They could have got him in the 5th. let's be honest. They could have got him in the 5th, but like I said, it's not a knock on him because hindsight is 2020. You look at him now. This guy looked like he should have been a top 5 pick, but that just goes back to like I said, to the work that he does. Now, Desmond Ridder is putting in that same amount of work. Now, does he make that improvement? I don't know. He has the tools to, but I don't think that he's going to be the guy that's going to be. I don't think he's going to be a guy that's going to be a complete bust and just going to be falling off, and you're going to be. I don't think that we're going to be looking for another quarterback next year. I just don't see that out of Desmond Ridder right now. I think your ceiling here probably be a very solid starting quarterback, probably somewhere in the realm of what Taylor Heineke is right now. That's the floor for Desmond Ridder. Now the ceiling, I mean, the way I've seen him play in the last 4 games last season, the ceiling for him could be in, I think he could really be a good I don't want to say elite, but I think he could be a very good quarterback based on what I've seen last 4. Because those 4 games, I mean, he showed a lot of flashes where he did some things. Were they like all the way up there? But no, but when you compare him to other guys, their first 4 starts, it was not much different. So with Coach Arthur Smith seeing what happened from back then up until now, or even when he started out as in rookie training camp last year up until now, he's loving the progression, and the progression looks good based on what he's saying. He loves it. And like I said, I'll quote him again. Quote, "I do think his decision making has been pretty damn good. His techniques have certainly improved too." Unquote. So those things right there, like I said, this guy is the person who's been watching Desmond Ridder probably more than anybody in the world. He's probably been watching him on film. He's probably been watching him in regular drills. He's probably been watching him in practice. He's probably been watching him in training camp. He's probably been watching him in his sleep. So this is the guy that's on point as far as talking about Desmond Ridder. So I'm really interested to see how this goes. Friday is the game, which is August 11th. We're gonna see probably a few series with him playing, and it's gonna be really interesting to see how this goes. I'm really, really interested. So let me know what you guys think. I'll have the link down in the description to the article so you can read it, and we'll just go on to close out this episode. If you like this commentary, hit the like button, share the podcast, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Let me know what you guys think. Is Arthur Smith on point? I don't see why he wouldn't be. He's like the only guy that really been watching what Desmond Ridder does. And let me know what else you think about the rest of this show. You think I'm on point? You think I'm talking crazy? Let me know, man. Just let me know. I can be found on Spotify, Stitcher, Apple, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and Rumble. The website is firstandframerates.com, and everything that don't make it to the show, that I usually throw that up on Twitter. You probably see me talking about a bunch of Georgia Southern stuff. I may put a few things of movie, not movie, but music stuff on my X account as well. So hopefully you guys check all that out, and I'll see you guys then. All right, y'all. I appreciate it. Hit the like button on the way out. I really, really appreciate it. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, y'all. Y'all take it easy, and y'all be blessed. Peace.